So we're live now in Purna Wellbeing Samvada. Very happy to come back in today's Purna Wellbeing Samvada. And the theme is very, very interesting and exciting. And we have Manivannan and we have Gauri once again back in this Samvada. And the topic being rhythms. Rhythms, healing forces in childhood. Just to share a bit about Manivannan, who is fondly and widely called Mani. He's passionate about children, including children with special challenges. He is a big source of inspiration for teachers, aspiring teachers, and parents. He is a guiding light, and he has himself traveled the path of conscious parenting by homeschooling his own children. He met anthroposophy 17 years ago. He was inspired by anthroposophy and Waldorf education, and then he started Kingdom of Childhood School in 2007. Prior to that, he was a special educator, and he had founded Heart and Soul Foundation, a school for children with special challenges. And now, Kingdom of Childhood has grown. It has the Veda kindergarten for children below 6 years. It has the Upanishad Waldorf School from grade 1 to grade 4. It has Kalpataru Curative School for children with special challenges. And it has the Homeschooling High School. Thank you, Mani, for joining in.
Thank you.
We have Gauri. Gauri started as a volunteer 11 years ago in Kingdom of Childhood. And then as a teacher of kindergarten for over a decade. And now she's a mentor to kindergarten teachers. Her specialty is intricate child observation. She keenly observes how the child's inner moves and therefore how their behavior in turn moves. She's very strong in creating healing stories for children. She knows how to use the right metaphor for the right behavioral challenge. Welcome, Gauri.
Good afternoon, Deepa. Good afternoon, everyone. A very happy new year to all.
Thank you. Thank you. And welcome to all of you who are watching. We have around 10 of you watching live. And thank you for the hearts that you are sharing, for the love you're sharing with us. So let's go. Are we all ready, Gauri and Mani?
Yeah.
So let's go straight into this topic of rhythms. There is a lot of emphasis on rhythms in Waldorf education, and being a Waldorf parent too, I experienced it. Not just rhythms for my children, but rhythms for as a parent, as a household. It was so important, and I think it was so beneficial for all of us. So, Mani, what does rhythms mean, and why does rhythms play such an important role in the life of children?
What is rhythms? Anything in human life, be it an activity or a process or even the being itself, which kind of progressively moves forward with a pulsating in and out movement, creating a polarity of in and out, but a breathing in and a breathing out, but in the end, creating balance, harmony, and health. That is what I would like to call as a rhythm. It is something that's very fluid and organic. It's not like a rigid and a highly structured timetable. You see how it happens in current schooling, 8 to 8:45, and then the bell rings and children are all just entering into the subject with their full focus, and then they have to stop it, and then they have to kind of move to the next subject. And this is not rhythm. This is like a military timetable. So I think rhythm is something that's very fluid and organic. I mean, rhythms are all around us in natural phenomenons. There are cosmic rhythms. There are even circadian physiological rhythms within our body. For example, our pulse and the heartbeat. All these are so much connected to our feeling life, to the realm of feeling. If you're quite stressed out, if you feel a little bit anxious, then your pulse, your heartbeat will increase. And so the life of feeling is connected to rhythms, especially our physiological rhythms. There are always things happening in our body, yeah, in terms of the anabolic and catabolic rhythms, the breaking down and the building up forces. So there are degenerative and regenerative rhythms. Then there is also an important physiological rhythm connected to sleeping and waking, yeah, that is guided by a cosmic rhythm called the sun. So sunrise and sunset. Yeah. Am I audible, Deepa?
Yes, yes, you're audible. You're audible.
Okay. So there is the smaller microcosm rhythm of sleeping and waking. Is my voice?
No, not anymore. No, you're on mute right now, Mani.
Yeah, you need to unmute, sir.
Can't hear you. Can't hear you, Mani.
It's not audible, no, Deepa.
No, he's on mute. You're on mute, Mani. Can you please unmute? Can't hear you.
Okay. I think he'll connect back.
Yeah, just a minute. Dear viewers, we'll just connect back. We're just waiting for Mani. But what he was sharing was so beautiful because everything is rhythmic. Can't hear you, Mani.
Sir, can you take the help of somebody next to you, sir? If somebody is there, you can take
I
the
think he's
help.
doing it. He's doing it. I think for me, Gauri, when we joined Waldorf School about a decade back, that was the first time I understood what rhythms are. And early to bed, early to rise. My parents and my grandparents did it, but I understood the importance of that only after coming to a Waldorf school. And then, it's so interesting that today that's what I teach adults.
True. Very true.
Hello?
Yes, can hear you.
Am I audible, Deepa?
Yes, Mani.
Okay, wonderful. Okay.
Can you
Thank
just
you.
enter? Thank you.
Thanks, Sridhar. Yeah, so I was talking about sleeping, yeah, sleeping and waking, so connected.
Sun rhythms.
Yeah. So connected to a natural phenomenon called sunrise and sunset. It's a
Yes.
very cosmic solar rhythm. And then on a very large macrocosmic scale, you also have birth and death. They are also a rhythm, So, so you can see already that our whole life is connected both physiologically within us and outside us in nature to lots of rhythms. Yeah, you can also see that there is a cosmic rhythm, like I said, connected to the sun, which is the daily rhythm. And then we also have a planetary rhythm. You see, the Sunday is connected to the sun, the Monday is connected to the moon, or the Saturday is connected to the Saturn, and so on and so forth. So you have a planetary rhythm, and then you also have a lunar rhythm connected to the moon, which is a monthly rhythm. And you can see this connected in nature through the high and the low of the tides.
Tides.
Yeah, the waxing and waning of the moon, and even in the monthly cycles of a woman. So
Woman,
all
yes.
these are also cosmic rhythms, but reflected in a more microcosmic human being. And then, of course, you have a Earth rhythm, which is the 365-day cycle, and these are connected to seasons, festivals, even the birthdays of children that we celebrate in our Waldorf school is an annual rhythm. So yeah, so this much for rhythm, what it means. And you also asked me what is the role of rhythm in education.
Yeah.
Basically, the role of rhythms for anybody, whether it's for children or for adults, is healing and health. Yeah, that is the primary role of rhythms. Now, having said that, if you look at for kindergarten children, this nice breathing in and breathing out routine that a Gaudi teacher and other kindergarten teachers create is a very, very healing process. Children find themselves very secure, and the breathing becomes normal, not only just by the routine of the day, but also by each activity, whether it's a storytelling session, a painting session. Yeah, if just Gauri takes the paintbrush and starts with her red and yellow, blue and green, and the children start to, kind of breathe out. That's a very, very, you can see healing happening, and similarly when the storytelling is going on and the protagonist is going through a lot of struggles in the story, and children are like, they're holding their breath, and in the end, 7 goats came out of the wolf's stomach, and they happily lived ever after. And then you see the children give out a kind of a, that kind of a breath, which is so healing. And this for me is rhythms and the benefit of rhythms. And this is in the kindergarten. In the grade school, of course, we have a completely different idea, which is connected to sympathies and antipathies. Yeah. For example, let's take the threefold idea. In the body, it is connected to the human will. Yeah, the human will is sympathetic. It wants to jump into everything it sees. And on the other side, on the antipathy side, it converts to thinking. For example, if you see a little child crawling and pulling things and exploring with his will, then it awakens his thinking. You see, so this is literally at a bodily level. Then at a soul level, it is imagination. Yeah, the more imaginative a child can get, on the antipathic side, it converts into real memory for children. Similarly, at the spiritual level, children form deep relations to their experiences and form inner pictures. This inner picturing is related to concepts, that forms concepts later in life. So all these two polarities that you can see, on one side, we give children a lot of sensory experiences, we call these perceptions, and they're getting converted into actual digestion and understanding of the lesson, which is called concepts. Now, this transition can only happen if in between these two poles, there is the realm of feeling. You see, the realm of feeling. And one thing is the connect to the teacher is very, very important. And then the child can breathe through his lessons. And the second thing is that the rhythms are expressed through artistic work, because that's what nurtures the life of feeling. So when you teach children through art and artistic activity, even the math and the sciences, they don't get bored. They don't get tired. Because boredom and tiredness, like if you work for a long time, in your will, you will get tired. If you have too much of a sensory overload, if you're thinking too much, you'll get fatigued. But your life of feeling, the pulsating rhythm, fatigue and boredom doesn't belong to that at all. You see, from the time we are born to the time we die, our breath, our circulation, our heartbeat, our pulse keep on working. They never get tired. So this is the natural idea of rhythms. Thank you. I think I should stop now. And
Beautiful. Super. I think that was a great, note at which you ended. And just to reiterate what you shared, Mani, the role of rhythm is healing and health. And it's not just for children, it's for everyone. The role of rhythm
absolutely.
is healing in children. So beautifully put. Gauri, can you share your perspective on how rhythms can become this healing and health force in children?
Okay. So before we explore this healing forces that works, that happens through rhythms, Deepa, I would like to little throw light on what is this healing forces all about. We
Yes.
constantly use the word, right? Healing. What is this healing? Is it like a doctor treating a patient, healing a patient? To some extent, I would say, like, yes, a teacher or a parent who was able to unfold these healing forces in a child's life, I would consider that person as a soul doctor. I can call him or her as a soul doctor. Okay, and to understand these healing forces, it is nothing but making a person comfortable, at ease, bringing something into balance. Anything little out of balance, we are bringing the situation or the person into balance. That is what is healing is all about.
Yeah.
To explain how these healing forces works with rhythms, I would like to pull an imaginary scenario, Deepa, with your permission. Hope you don't mind because I'm going to pull you into this imaginary scenario. Okay?
You're the
Now,
boss, you're the soul doctor.
okay. Thank you. So there is a situation where Deepa decides to come and stay with me in my house. Okay, and I agree to that. And I tell you, like Deepa, you're going to stay for a couple of months with me, but I wanted to ensure that you have to help me in the kitchen with my cooking and also a little bit with sweeping and mopping. And I do have a gardening patch, and you have to help me with the gardening too. And you very happily agree to that. And you also come with a disclaimer like Gauri, I am a dancer. I need some time to practice my dance. And I'm a voracious reader. I need some time to read. And I too agree. And we both start living together. And on the day one, it's a bright morning. And Deepa, as per your routine, you get up and you start reading. Okay. And after your reading is done, I come and knock the door and I tell you, Deepa, now it's time for you to come to the kitchen and help me now. Come on. And you come and join me and we both cook and we have our breakfast. And then later we do the sweeping and mopping. And later part of the day, you do your dance practice. And finally, we do the gardening. And that is how the routine of the day, the rhythm of the day goes. And this happens for 3 to 4 days. And on the fifth day, what will be Deepa's mindset? Deepa will be like, okay, I can finish my reading and then Gauri is going to call me for cooking. Isn't it? That will be your mindset. And you get up and you're ready with a book. I come and knock at the door and I tell you, Deepa, come on, close your book. Now come, we are going to do sweeping and mopping today. No reading now. And you're a little puzzled and you just come along and you decide that, okay, let me support Gauri. And we start our day with sweeping and mopping. And later you sit and read. And after that we cook. And later the dance practice. And by the end of the day, it was gardening. And this goes on for 3 to 4 days. And on the 8th or 9th day, what will be Deepa's mindset right in the morning? You know
Sweeping.
that sweeping and mopping. Gauri is going to call me for sweeping. No, let me not take my book now.
Yes.
And you're ready and you're about to take the broom. I say, no, Deepa, drop the broom now. We are not going to do sweeping and mopping. We are going to do gardening now. And you are like, oh, this lady is so unpredictable. She keeps changing. I'm prepared with something and she keeps changing how things can unfold. Okay. This is one very, very simple example for us to understand the flow of rhythms. Because the space what Deepa will be left is confusion,
Confused, yeah.
puzzled. What is going to happen next? The unpredictability. This is the space Deepa will be. If this is going to be the plight of adults, we can understand the situation of children. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yes. So what is going to happen next? The predictability of the day is extremely soothing for a child, actually. A child has to know what is going to happen next, to some extent at least. For example, like Manisa mentioned, in our kindergarten, we have a rhythm of breathing in and breathing out. For example, there is a focused activity of a circle time where we all sing and move and do things for 20 minutes, which is a breathing in process because the child breathes in movements, the child breathes in language, the child breathes in music, many things are happening. And then there is a 45 minutes of breathing out. And again, maybe there is a small activity of 20 minutes of breathing in, again, a breathing out. So that is how a rhythm is created in a kindergarten, a world of kindergarten. So the child
Beautiful.
knows how the day is going to unfold for him or her. So
Hmm.
rhythm, to make it very simple, it can be compared to the flow of a river. How water flows in a river. Organically, naturally, back and forth, with little anticipated twists and turns in the journey. That will be there. You're not going to follow a strict regime, but there will be natural anticipation of twists and turns, little changes here and there. So, rhythms, when repeated with consistency, a child gains familiarity about how the day is going to unfold. And that is when healing can happen through rhythms.
Hmm.
I would take this as the mantra, rhythms with consistency. It is not like we do something for a particular time and then we just change it. We are back to stage one. If that is going to be the case, then it is difficult. Then we
Yes.
can't expect healing to unfold through rhythms.
Yeah, yeah. And it needs to happen in school and back at home.
Yes, very true, very true. So
Yeah,
this is
I
how
think
I
yeah,
would.
it's beautiful. You know, you've tied it so beautifully with what Manisa started with. It's not a scheme, like a schooling. It's like money.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah. Would you like to add to this?
Um, yeah. Gavi spoke quite, simple and very with a lot of clarity. What I would like to do is this idea of rhythms or a disturbed rhythm is even more evident when you work with children with special needs. You see, in the
Hmm.
curricular educational area, and there it becomes very obvious. The manifestations of disturbed rhythms are seen in their behaviors. Sometimes children can get violent or withdrawn and shy, or they tend to have a lot of repetitive behaviors. And sometimes also the behaviors are inappropriate to the age, to their environment, or even to the culture. So these disturbances are usually um, uh, poor lack of uh, integration of the body and the spirit. You know what in allopathic terms is also called as mind-body coordination. As mind-body coordination. Yeah. Now, is there some sound here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Am I audible?
yes,
Yes.
sir.
Okay. So the integration of the spirit within the body is disturbed, and that is the primary problem when children with special needs are educated, and this reflects in their movement. There are lots of chaotic movements like flapping their arms, stimming, sometimes jumping up and down or screaming, especially in a particular condition called autism or a condition called ADHD. Yeah, these are all labels and titles, but leaving out that this is the nature of certain human beings, and there is a lot of sensitivity, either due to sensory overload or hypo or hypersensitive in their hearing, in their touch, these can aggravate in some smells, and even in the presence of some ego, some ego in the sense some human being, a stranger or somebody is present in the room, even that can be a big sensory overload for a child on the
Yes.
spectrum, you see. So, and of course in a small way it also affects speech. Children sometimes don't speak, they just are silent, or they have a
Yeah.
very what do I say, like a machinated, like a robotic speech, just or sometimes they also have echolalia. So children keep repeating the same things, that you ask them what's your name and they will say what's your name. So that's called
Yeah.
echolalia. So all these are the various disturbances in rhythms, and very prominently seen than in the so-called normal children, can be seen in special children in an obvious way. Now, and the total answer to this is rhythms. I cannot underestimate the kind of role that rhythms plays in the life of special children. The larger rhythms that we discussed for other children, absolutely 100%, we have to follow rhythms for our special children. Otherwise, it is not just not getting the benefits of rhythms, but also the disturbances get aggravated. So
Mm.
rhythms play a very, very healing role here. And and there are certain rhythmical therapies, like rhythmical foot massages, rhythmical stamping and clapping exercises. There is also curative eurythmy. I'm sure you know a lot about eurythmy also.
Yes.
And of course, music as a therapy. Singing itself is a very rhythmical idea. And even mathematical counting, in a rhythmical, whether it's the tables or the counting backward or forward, all these things are very, very healing, even for children with special needs. But there are
Mm.
two things I want to talk about, very important than all these educational ideas. One is the connect to the adult, the children and the adult. What is their connection? Does the teacher come consistently and regularly in a rhythmical way so that the child is waiting for the teacher to come at a particular time? That is what creates security for the child, and then he's able to meaningfully engage and understand the world. So therein lies a certain healing aspect of rhythms in special children. Yeah. And last and the most important thing is a life of community, the community living, or what I call as a sociotherapy, learning to
Mm.
live amidst other people. It's called
Mm.
sociotherapy, you see. And they're following the daily rhythm through a period of rest and a period of work life. Yeah, whether it is farming, gardening, or craft work, cooking, baking, and some rest in between, or even some cultural dances. It's a whole community life, and this is especially good for adults with special needs.
Mm.
Yeah, when you settle these children into a beautiful rhythm, I'm calling them as children, sorry, adults with special needs also into a good socio-therapeutic rhythms, then you see that these children walk especially in the Campbell villages and all of that, like real villagers, going to the farm, going to the baking, going to the housekeeping, going to the guilds, factories or guilds to work, and they become really humans. It's a process of becoming human, from the violence, from the disrupted behaviors, to becoming more human. So
Beautiful, beautiful. There's
thank
a
you.
question which Gariasi is asking: how early could mindfulness engagements be introduced for children? If you want
Sorry,
more
I didn't
clarity, you
hear
can
you. Is
ask.
it for me?
Any of you, how early could mindfulness engagements be introduced for children?
Mindful engagement. Is that what your question is all about?
Yeah. How early could
Yeah.
mindfulness engagements be introduced for children?
Yeah, mindful you're saying, right?
Yeah, mindfulness
All
engagements.
right, all right. I'm somehow couldn't catch you. Okay, this I already said when I spoke about rhythms,
Yes.
that in early childhood, from 0 to 7, all of the educational process are only through the will. Okay, uh, um, children work their life through willful experiences, and thinking happens. Thinking is not done. Thinking happens. Thinking awakens. From 7 to 14, both the life of the will and the life of the feeling are worked upon. And again, thinking is awoken. But only after 14 to 21 is a human being ready to, take in the world through the sensory impressions of thinking directly. Now, anything that, as in the current educational system, if thinking is brought in very early into childhood, and children are asked to, by heart and vomit all the things only through abstract and logical conclusions, then the human soul or the feeling realm becomes dry and unfertile. And so children really lose interest in studies and start saying, I don't like math, I'm weak in Hindi. And, so children start to resist meeting a particular subject. So, yeah.
Yes, yes. So it's
So
early
really
on.
mindful engagement has to only come a little later. And if you even take 7 to 14, Deepa, just the period of 7 to 14, the schooling period, even there that you can see a threefold.
Yes.
Grades 1, 2, and 3 are more rhythmical,
Yes.
more musical, more stamping and clapping, more counting, more tables. And if you see, so because children in the ages of 7 to 9, grade 1 to 3, are living in the rhythms. They are not working with the rhythms, or they're not understanding the rhythm. They are living in the rhythm. But if you take 4, 5, and 6, the next 3 grades, then children are starting to consciously grasp the rhythm. You see? And
Yes.
and if you look at higher grades, they even start to use the rhythm. So children actually in higher grades are asked to compose poems, write stories, write their autobiographies, paint portraits. So a lot of creations and compositions of rhythm, and even create musical compositions. These in Waldorf schools, I know class 8, class 9 start to write their own songs, compose their own music, and create their own bands sometimes. So all
Yeah.
this is possible in the age group of the third segment of 7 to 14.
Yeah.
Can you see
Yeah.
in classes 6, 7, 8?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the
So
idea of
we
mindful grasping, as you said.
yes. We are now going to explore, few elements which can enhance rhythms. One is we'll dwell into food, we'll dwell into sleep, we'll dwell into celebrations of festival, and we'll also delve into technology. So let's go to food first. Today there are so many food options available. I know that children have become fussy because they have more options. And, in Waldorf, we always say that reverence to anything we do or eat. So because of these options available, we are seeing that the reverence for food as nourishment is diminishing. So, Gauri, if you could elaborate on what's the purpose of having food rhythms?
Okay. Which is very interesting to explore. When we speak about food rhythms, we all know, Deepa, like it is the right food at the appropriate time, which is universal, and we all know that. And
Yes.
consciously, I don't want to explore and add more details on the right food, which we are in a way, we are overloaded with information. We all know what is healthy. We all know what is nutritious. It is good to keep children away from junk food, processed food, sugar coated foods, all these things we know. Okay, so the right food can be locally grown foods, lots of fruits, vegetables, sprouts, and all these things, homemade as much as possible, which adds a lot of value to the food. So that is what I would like to add when it comes to the right food
And
when we speak
seasonal.
of rhythms. seasonal and local, because we have a natural connect with the nature, isn't it?
Yes.
So what is
Yeah.
grown locally, that is the best, no doubt about that. And when it comes to the appropriate time of taking the food, isn't it? That is where I wanted to throw a little light, that because many parents in our kindergarten, even in our parent community, they come with this question like, Gauri teacher, when we wanted to explore this food rhythms, it doesn't work so easily for us. We always feel we wanted to stick to the food rhythms, but it doesn't work. Because the main thing we need to understand is when it comes to appropriate time, it is not about scheduling something. Like Sir mentioned right in the beginning, rhythm is not about scheduling a timetable, a structured timetable. The huge difference between a rhythm and a schedule is rhythm is nothing but sequencing. That's all. Sequencing activities is rhythm. It is not scheduling. I'll give a very simple example. Suppose a parent sets a rhythm for the child that 1 noon is the lunch time for my child. I wanted to practice this rhythm. And before the child has lunch, we are going to sit and say a prayer, and then the child will have his lunch, and then it is a playtime. Let us stick to this slice of the rhythm. Now, the difference between rhythm and a sequence, a schedule, a strict timetable is, if it is when the clock turns 12:55, the mother starts getting panicky. Oh, I have to stick to the food rhythm now. Whatever the child was doing, the child would have been involved in playing, painting. We don't know what the child was involved in. Just pull the child, make him sit on the dining table, and then provide the lunch, and the child has to eat by dot 1 o'clock.
Mhm.
That is how parents start understanding food rhythms. And whatever
Yes.
the mother was doing, whatever the father was doing, hell with everything, and I'll just make the child sit like a robo and just provide the lunch.
Beautiful distinction.
And then after eating the lunch, the child is allowed to play. But the actual harmony, the healing happens through rhythms. When the same thing can happen in a little different way, it is 1:15. Okay, 15 minutes past 1 noon, but still the rhythm is in place. When the child is going to sit and sing the prayer, and then the food is offered with all the joy and harmony, not in all the anxiety and panicky or guilt pang that, oh, 15 minutes is lost. Now, what am I going to do? The food rhythm is lost. It is not that way. So, the harmony of the adult with which the food is offered, and then after having the lunch, the child is going to have his plate. The child knows that if the child has lived the rhythm for a couple of weeks and days. So this is a very, very simple example. So rhythm is always associated to harmony and healing. So
Hmm.
this is the difference between a tight scheduled timetable and a rhythm.
Yes.
And when
Yes.
we talk about the reverential element of reverence for food in children, I would like to focus on 3 aspects, Deepa. The first thing will be movement, especially in young children, not enough young children, children for that matter. Today, the movement is so less for children that the hunger, the warmth that has to be created in the belly is not created at all. Children just sit corner to corner in different corners of the home or throughout the day in school without much physical movements. If there is no physical movements, we can't expect in the physiological level for the warmth to be created in the belly.
Hmm.
Only hunger is created, only then later the child will have reverence for food. Otherwise, it is like sticking to the clock time. It is 1
Yeah.
noon. Either you're hungry or not, just open your box and start eating now.
Hmm.
Then we can't expect the element of reverence to be inculcated in children. The second
Yes.
only challenge by most of the parents is screen time. Parents come and tell, my child needs those 20 minutes of screen time, Gauri ma'am, for him to eat. Otherwise, he doesn't eat. So it becomes very comfortable for parents, few parents, I won't say all the parents, few parents that you switch on something and the child sits with open mouth and you keep feeding him or the child keeps eating, not knowing what is the food the child is eating, what is the texture, what is the smell, what is the color, nothing is perceived by the child.
Yes.
So then we can't expect the element of reverence
Hmm.
the child side towards food because having a meal itself is an experience.
Yes. Beautiful. Yeah.
Child has to look at the plate. What is that? That is painful on my plate. What is the texture? What is the color? What is the item is all about? That the child has, it's the child eats with his eyes, no? If we say, we first eat with our eyes, and then the smell, the sense of smell. So all these things, when it is conducted in a particular way, then the element of reverence will be inculcated. And the
That's
third
it.
thing, yeah, and the third thing I would like to focus on the process of food making. When children are involved as much as possible, we are not asking the children to stay in the kitchen right from morning to night. Wherever possible, understanding the child's age, consciousness, if the child can be involved in the process of cooking, then the element of reverence need not be brought through lectures and reading, and nothing is needed. Because the child is already having an experience of what all I have to undergo to get these two idlis and sambar on my plate. The child will know. So parents can really make this possible. We need not think like, oh, is it a possibility? It is very much possible because we see that in our parent community, children involving in kitchen work. If it is a very young child, just chopping of vegetables, done. Chopping of fruits, done. If it is a little older child, why not the child stand by the fire side with an adult support and start cooking or setting a table? Every process, no, everything will result in building the reverence for the child.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful.
So
So
we
with
are
mindfulness really starts much early. What you're saying, seeing the food, it's not later. It starts very, very early.
and when we stick to these food rhythms, then the digestive juices, in the physiology, the body gets prepared to receive a meal. And
Yes.
that can happen through rhythm. I can give a very simple anecdote, Deepa. Few years ago in our kindergarten, now Shankranti is around, right? Shankranti is very close by. We were celebrating Shankranti rhythm in the month of Jan, and we were sowing methi seeds in our garden patch. And the plants grew, and we harvested them. And it was time for all of us to sit in a circle and start cleaning the methi seeds. I mean methi leaves, because we planned for a methi paratha recipe. So the beauty of a World of Kindergarten curriculum is we start from beginning to finish. So right from sowing of the seeds was done with children, and then we grew it, and then we harvested. And when it was time to clean the greens, one boy in the class totally refused to touch the greens. The reason was it's kachada. It's too muddy. I don't want to touch and clean all these things. Then what I did was, okay, you can just sit and watch your friends doing it. And we all cleaned the methi leaves, and then he was ready to chop when it was washed. And then he chopped, we cooked the methi paratha. And you won't believe, I repeated the same activity again. The next day, again, we sowed the methi seeds for the sake of this one child.
Hmm.
Rhythm, working through rhythm. And then again, we grew. When we harvested for the second time, the boy was little okay. Little to some extent. And then again, we did a kind of a methi pakoda, something like that. And the third time when I repeated, it was so heartwarming for me to see this boy very comfortably sitting and cleaning the greens with all the soil, putting his fingers in the soil.
Mhm.
That was
Beautiful.
an outstanding example for me how
Yeah.
rhythms can work.
Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. And you have really impacted the being of the child.
Yes.
You have shifted something very deep, it's like a lesson for life for the child. So, wow, what
And
a beautiful
And
example.
if you notice keenly, Deepa, any rhythmical exchange is a process of transformation, not enough for children,
Exactly.
even for adults. You are bound
Exactly.
to be formed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, in a
Beautiful.
sense, transformation happens automatically without any big efforts when you stick to rhythms. Because if
Yeah.
you this particular example, the first time when the child was experiencing, it was just an experience for the child. Touching, should I touch or not? It is full of mud. My hands will becomes, I mean, it will get soil. With all these things, it was an experience. By the second week, it was little a different experience. Later, it becomes an ability for the child to touch
Mm.
and clean. So an experience can turn into a faculty or an ability through rhythms.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. Is this the reason why we bring in festival cycles and festival celebrations as rhythms too? And how do those celebrations become a healing force?
Yes, festivals, what to say, an unexplored area. Even many of our parents come with this question. Why do we celebrate festivals in
Hmm.
schools? So the first thing I would like to mention is, instead of understanding festivals with all the outward way of doing it with commercial elements, it is important to understand the significance of festivals, the deeper inner meaning behind every festivals. It is important for us to understand, because acknowledging and celebrating festivals helps us to connect to the rhythms of earth, like Manisa mentioned, rhythms of cosmos, rhythms of seasons. We get a natural connect to all these things. And also our responsibility for each other. It is shared humanity, because festivals are not celebrated in loneliness. No, we all come together. If it is festival, it is a humanity community gathering, a shared humanity feel. So that is one very highlighting aspect of festivals. The other thing I would like to bring is, it is important to understand the mysteries of the world, because we are all stuck in our fast-paced living with all our hangama of daily routine. We have a particular rhythm and routine, and we keep living that for days and weeks and months, and suddenly there is a festival. And these festivals are beautiful opportunities for us to remind the mysteries of the world, because there
Yeah.
are many mysteries which we don't even acknowledge or even try to understand or realize that they are all amidst us.
Hmm.
And I would like to share a quote by Rudolf Steiner, the founder of Waldorf Education. He says that the original idea of any sacred festival is to make the human being look upward
Hmm.
from the dependencies on the earthly things, and to look for things that transcend earthly experiences. So there are beautiful things beyond our earthly experiences also, Deepa. So it is time for us to connect to those mysteries through festivals.
Hmm.
Mystery is rhythm of seasons. It is
Hmm.
fantastic when you explore the rhythms of seasons, how it is connected to human living in the form of
Hmm.
festivals.
Hmm.
Because if you
Beautiful.
now we are on the verge of completion of winter. What is winter is all about? The days are shorter, nights are longer. The sun rises by 6:30, right? These days. And it is dark everywhere. So, from a human being's perspective, it is time for us to look for light in the darkness. We seek light, we seek wisdom, we seek joy, we seek beauty in darkness. And slowly, winter is fading away. It is a kind of slumber. Mother Earth is in a kind of slumber mode when it is winter. And slowly, Mother Earth wakes up. Then comes spring.
Yes.
Everywhere, flowers, leaves, everything is there, which is nothing but rebirth,
Hmm.
transformation, renewal.
Hmm.
And then later, slowly, summer starts. Summer is nothing but the depiction of the forces of the earth outgrown and spreading everywhere. It is like a breathing out for human beings. Let go, that kind of a feel. And when it is autumn, it's very interesting. The leaves starts shedding. So it is a depiction that Mother Earth starts drawing her energy inwardly. So as human beings, it is for us to introspect, look
Go
for our
inward.
current strength. So if we connect the seasons, rhythm of seasons and a human biography, it can be an autumn phase in my life. It can be a
Yes.
summer. It can
Absolutely.
be winter.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You're bringing such a beautiful connection between the outer and the inner.
Yes.
Yeah. Beautiful. Beautifully put, Gauri.
That is how the rhythms of seasons adds meaning in a human living. So from the young child's perspective, actually, how festivals play a role is, it helps the child to gain a feel of time, because a child won't know that, okay, it is December, I celebrated Christmas, then Shankranti will come in Jan. But for a child, it is travel with the time. So it is subdivided qualities of time. Festivals are subdivided qualities. You celebrate Shankranti now after a particular phase of time. Again, Ugadi will come. Again, Christmas will come later. Then Eid will come. All these festivals helps children to get the feel of the aspect of time, which is very beautiful.
Wow. Wow. I just loved it. How you explain it. Neetu says beautiful analogy, and Nikita says, I loved how you explained, Gauri.
Thank you, viewers.
Beautiful, beautifully put. So, when we talk about rhythms, the what money started from the human being and nature to talking about the classroom to talking about food and now festivals, uh, they're all related and it's all going in a rhythm. Next comes to sleep. Sleep is such an important element in a human being's life. And I remember my mother-in-law and my grandmother telling, when in Tamil she would say, when kids sleep more, they grow taller, healthier, better, stronger. So how do we emphasize sleep and this night life being so important in their day life and the connection between the two? Mani, could you share what is the sleep rhythm?
Sure. I think we all have heard of the old saying, yeah, by Benjamin Franklin, which says that early to bed and early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. So this is exactly what Rudolf Steiner, has said, that the life between our sleeping to waking
Hmm.
is equally, if not more important than our life between our waking to sleeping, which is, in short, our night life is
Hmm.
more important than our day life. In the day life, we collect a lot of sensory impressions. We perceive things from the world and we take it into our inner being in the form of mental pictures, mental images. Now, all this needs to be digested, you see. So,
Yeah.
this digestion does not happen during the day. Yeah, only abstract logical thinking happens immediately. Like if you by heart an answer and you want to, vomit out that, temporary memory can happen immediately. But to create a lifelong memory, which turns into habits, which turns into discipline, which turns, into real memory. So this can happen only through the nightlife.
Hmm.
So when you see a human being sleeping in the uh, night, what you see on the bed is a physical body of the human being. Yeah.
Hmm.
So you also see that something is moving up and down his stomach or his chest. So you know that this man is alive
Yeah.
and his life forces are also working. So one can easily see that the physical body and the life body are here and now on the earth. What happened to the body of feelings and emotions? Yeah, if you bring a jamun and put it in front of the sleeping human being, where all his senses are more or less closed, his mouth is not going to be salivating.
Yeah.
Yeah, or if you're going to be scolding him with all kinds of abusive words, in ordinary life, he would have got so hurt in his ego and in his identity, and he would have shouted back at you. But here he'd probably be lying just with the smile of his dream or something like that. So what is happening is that the two other bodies that belong to you, in the cosmic bodies, the body of feelings and the body of identity, or the body of the larger human wisdom, these two bodies have left you at night. And that is actually what is called sleep. Yeah, so with that, all the mental images that have been taken are also taken along, what was created during the day, from the sensory impressions, whether it was a beautiful Waldorf lesson, or whether it was a teacher scolding a child, or whether it was a dog chasing you in the end of the road, whatever impression that you've collected during the day is taken by these two cosmic bodies during the night to their spiritual home. That is where the real digestion happens. And the next morning, when you actually come back to waking, then the thoughts, especially the first thoughts that you wake up with in the morning, are very, very important thoughts. Because as you cross what is called the gate of birth every morning, those thoughts are the ones that are primarily going to be your memory or your concepts that have become established from the next day onwards. Yeah, this is how real educational learning and memory is built. So that's why Waldorf teachers always make it a point to ask questions or to recall a story or something on the following day, not on the same day of when they've given the the perceptions. So this is on a psychological basis. Yeah, this is on a soul level of learning and development. There is also something to do with the physiological level of sleep. And this is something very, very important because it has everything to do with the liver, the human liver. Anthroposophical doctors will be able to talk in detail, but I can just give you a little idea because liver is the one that works with sugar and so many other chemicals and hormones and regulates our energy levels. And also liver is an organ that relates to our overall feelings of contentment and satisfaction or discontentment or depression. Yeah, and it is very much involved with our ability to have a good night's sleep, the work of the liver, the rhythm of the liver. And the liver follows the cycle of the sun. You see, I have always been saying in every platform, for children especially, sleep with the sun, wake up with the sun, which is literally means that children have to be in bed by 6:30 to 7:30. This is literal. And why this is said? Because it is the liver rhythm. The liver kind of also finishes its work by 5:36 in the evening, and that's the right time to close on dinner, and then slowly slow down with a story, switching off the lights and getting into bed. And by 7:30 the child must be able to sleep. If this window crosses and the child is awake 8:39, then the liver releases a second set of hormones and a second set of chemicals. And this keeps the child awake and active for another 2-3 hours. So a child who's crossed the window of the liver's sun cycle keeps himself awake as a cycle a little longer and then goes to sleep only at 10, 11, etc. Now, if this continuously keeps happening, then the child starts to get tired, and this reflects as irritable behavior. So often the child is resisting, saying no to your lesson, or even to parents. There is always an irritable behavior throughout the day, and this is because physiologically the sugars in the blood have risen, heart rate has kind of accelerated, and blood pressure has risen. So basically, over a long time, even the immunity is suppressed. So, I mean, anything that is arrhythmical, which is not rhythmical, is definitely not healthy. And in that example, like Gauri spoke about food, and what I'm saying about sleep are absolute essentials. If children don't do any written homework or go to lots of classes from one class to another in the evenings, I don't mind. But if children follow the basic homeworks, I would call this as homework for parents, food and sleep. If these two can be followed, then you will find that this developing human being, when he is 60, 70, 80 years old, will be absolutely healthy and balanced. Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Mani,
yeah,
when you
that
say
much.
children, is it an age who must sleep at 7:30? Is it all children? Is there a
Definitely newborns will sleep even during the day. Yeah,
yeah,
newborns sleep for 15 to 18 hours.
yeah.
Slowly, as children come to 2.5, 3 years, it's good to settle them into good rhythms. Yeah, children must sleep for 10 to 12 hours. Young children, the longer they sleep, the better. The problem of today, is technology, and in a way, the discovery of electricity. Electricity has disrupted our rhythms, with all these BPOs and all the night work. a lot of young people go out on working in the night and have lost rhythms completely.
Yes.
I'm even wondering if this would create, because so many human beings are working through the night, whether it's going to even create some kind of a genetic modification in our in the human being itself. A little bit worried about that. But anyway, in terms of children, I would think from 0 to 9, almost 9 years, I think children should sleep a proper sleep with the sun, wake with the sun. That model of 10 to 12 hours of sleep. Now, after 9 years until almost 12, 13, 14, till as long as you can hold on to, because after teenage, it's very difficult for you to monitor children in their rhythm. So till about 12 or 13, you can still, if you still have a parenting authority, you can still kind of give the best rhythms you can, 8-9 hours or so. I mean, 10 is really ideal.
Good.
10 hours is really ideal.
I was scared at 7:30.
But after 14, it is the astral body that takes over, not the etheric body. So in the astral body, the feelings, the emotions are very high. Children don't relate to you anymore. They will lock themselves up in a room far away from you. So you can't be advising them or giving them your, motherly care. So they will be all, and you can also see today it's complicated with electrical lights, but more complicated with all your Androids and TV and,
Gadgets.
your phones and whatnot. So they have complicated life. It is all, let's put the blame on Steiner's idea of the intellectual soul era. So I think the idea is that as humanity progresses through these different eras, and now we are in the intellectual soul era, we are no more beings connected to the spiritual world, but we have to meet our spirit by consciously now working on it. There may be electrical lights, there may be interesting dramas to watch on TV, but I have to consciously now make an effort to do what is important for me and my life. So as we start waking up in our intellect, we have to also start becoming conscious of our humanity. If we lose it, then our health, everything will go for a toss.
Absolutely.
So it's always back to, again, health and healing.
Healing, yeah, absolutely. Renuka has a question. She says, thank you so much for these valuable insights. What are your opinions on co-sleeping with parents? Should we encourage to sleep by themselves, or it's better to sleep with parents? And she's asking this for her 3-year-old.
Well, I think it would be nice if Renuka can think for herself and see what was her biography. Did her parents sleep with her? Did she feel secure about it? Or did the parents separate her early into a different bed or even a different room? Thank God it's not a different house altogether. All right. To answer that question, I would take it to my own children. Almost till 14, 15 years, they slept with us parents. And slowly they started to find their private lives. It happened naturally. The children themselves told us. We did not have to do anything intellectually. I'm not saying that everybody should have their children till 14. I'm saying it just happened in our lives because they had very low exposure to the modern world, to technology and all of that. So they were, in a way, set in a natural phenomenon, in a natural rhythm. But that is not the ideal maybe in current times, but always the children themselves will tell you when they want to go away from you. Do not use your intellect to say that this book recommended that children should be separated at 3 years. This book recommended that children should stop breastfeeding at 1 year. Do not go by the book. Go by your own intuition and your own observation of your child. There is no one date to this.
Yeah. Thank you. Nidhi asks a question. Mani sir, thank you so much. I was just wondering the ideal time for 10-year-old and above. My 3 still sleeps for 11 hours at a stretch.
Yeah. So what's the question? She sleeps for 11 hours is very good.
Yeah, so what's the ideal time for a 10-year? I think ideal time, number of hours of sleeping for a
Yeah, that's
10-year-old.
fine. That's fine. 10 to 11 hours is good. Slowly, she will start to overcome that, because work will increase. A child, when you go to fourth, fifth, sixth, your work and um, your capacity to play in the outside world without the supervision of parents, where you have to manage everything yourself, all of that will increase. So
Yeah.
sleep will, that's fine. She doesn't have to be worried about 11 hours of sleep.
Great, great. So we're almost coming to the end of this discussion. Very enriching. So healing and life-giving is how I would put it in few words. Is there any valuable input that you would like to share, or a message to all the viewers as a key takeaway from today's discussion or theme?
Okay.
Gauri, you want to go first?
Yes, sir. See, I would like to give a quick clue to parents, especially because I think many parents are watching this. Rhythms are harmony. Okay, from my experience as a kindergarten teacher, having close to 40 children in one class, no need of any instructions, no big efforts from the adult side if the rhythms are set. So, parents, it's a secret that if you stick to and get your child into a rhythmical lifestyle, your work is half done. It is 70%, they're not even half, 70% done. So it's very easy because children will just thrive with these rhythms. So that will be my request. Like, let us all strive to bring our children into these rhythmical lifestyle. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Anisa?
Yeah, so my last statements would definitely be about eat well, eat food grown in the local soil, and have a rhythmical routine for the kind of food that you want to introduce, even on a daily basis or on a weekly basis. It's good to have a rhythm. My most important message, which I might have told more than 1,000 times in my lifetime, is again, sleep with the sun and wake up with the sun. This is by far the most important message on rhythms that I want to say. And of course, if possible, from 0 to 9 or 10 years, zero technology. Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
these are things. And one last message for the parents: before we force the rhythms on our children, experience it oneself.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that is the most important.
I had it till here because I was unsuccessful to do it for my children, because I could see it on their face, even they didn't tell me, but you're not living rhythmic. They didn't say it, but I could see it written on their face. So I had to literally shine the torch inside to then go outside. And that changed my life. So it is very, not just for children, Gauri teacher, I think it was so advantageous to me because I could feel secure in my being. Yeah, thank you. Beautifully. And Nidhi has something for you.
So that we all become role models for our children.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Walk the talk.
Yeah.
Nidhi has something for you, Gauri. She says, Gauri, it's wonderful to hear you. You're amazing as always. Before ending the session, it would be great if you could sing one Sankranti song with a smiley she's writing.
Okay, sure. I would love to do that. Let me do a small finger play, which is apt for Shankranti. Can I try that? Yes.
Yes, please.
A little seed for me to sow, a little soil to make it grow, a little sun, a little shower, a little wind Let us all wait for the flower to come.
So beautiful. And here there's Neetu Singh, who's saying, Gauri, I love you. I love how passionately you speak. We can see the love and care for parents and kids. So with your love and passion and care, they flower.
After hearing to Gauri's inspirational song, I want to say that invest in your rhythms for your children today, sow those seeds, and then harvest flowers of health and joy.
Absolutely, absolutely. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much. It was so enlivening, enriching for me to just be here as a part of this trio. And we will come back for all the viewers. We have decided that every month we'll come back with one theme that is going to help us as parents and all our children and enliven our lives. So Mani and Gauri and I are committed to this process. Starting this month, every month we'll come back with different themes. Anything you would like to say before we say bye to everyone?
Happy Shankranti.
Happy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, and
Thank
happy
you so much.
Shankranti to all.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
viewers.
you.
See you.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir.